You won't believe it, but the meticulously crafted police deployment was completely wrecked by a ruthless killer. The killer got hit by a drug cop, one was captured, and guess what? In America, if you've got $2 million, you can walk free. Pablo never abandons his crew. That night, the killer hopped on a flight to Colombia with a bro. The only thing waiting for Zhang Lang was a bullet, and he just got rid of them all. What a timing. The drug lords had so much cash they didn't know what to do with it. Money laundering was suddenly job number one. So, Pablo bought a taxi company and turned it into the most profitable business on the planet. Other drug lords bought mines and racetracks. 70% of Colombia's soccer teams belonged to drug dealers. Pablo stocked up on Picasso paintings. Gustavo warned him to keep it low-key and boom, trouble. The drug lords were under siege by rebel guerrillas planning to kidnap them. You guessed it, Pablo was public enemy number one. Then they thought Pablo was too popular among the poor, so they targeted a guy named Ochoa instead. So they swooped in and kidnapped his wife in a bustling downtown, and the drug lords were furious. Pablo pitched the idea of forming an anti-kidnapping squad. They plotted strategies in a fancy hotel. The Medellin drug cartel was born. The government had no clue how to deal with the guerrillas. The drug lords found the guerrillas and pressured them to quietly release Ochoa's wife. But in the end, they got caught by Pablo, who surprisingly wanted to team up with them. Thus, Pablo had finally assembled his own military force. And shortly thereafter, the judge received a peculiar piece of correspondence. So, he adopted the guise of a black-hooded hero, with the intention of evading recognition. In the end, the drug lord got 135 years. That mysterious letter told the judge not to extradite him. The judge held his ground firmly, and Pablo remained committed to his principles. That's truly his consistent style. That's why he controlled the wildest drug cartel on earth, supplying 60% of America's drugs. By 1985, Pablo's assets topped $5 billion. He was shining on the Forbes list. After hitting it big, he never forgot his hometown, building houses for the poor. He even built a zoo for kids, gaining the love of the people, but that led to his biggest blunder. He decided to run for president, a drug lord running for president. What a hilarious plot twist. Bribed a famous lawyer, donated $3 and to opposition, winning a Senate seat. Thanks to the vigorous promotion by well-known journalists, he garnered widespread public support. Yet he encountered obstruction at the U.S. Embassy. They couldn't let a drug lord meddle in politics, so that year, the DEA pulled out all the stops. Before the evidence went to Congress, 2 hitmen took out the DEA chief. Even the judge who sentenced him got kidnapped, becoming Pablo's pawn. In the end, he made a flawless election as a senator, but the justice minister was ready to expose him. The U.S. ambassador got hold of Pablo's old photos, making him the laughingstock of the globe. The minister exposed his crimes in front of Congress, and Pablo stormed out, furious yet embarrassed. He left with his fierce demeanor, claiming he was framed, but after that blew up, his ambitions were toast. The government cracked down on drug lords, seizing shares, even taking back Pablo's zoo. He was furious, and his men killed the justice minister. It was lights out. The government offered a $100,000 bounty on Pablo, but the drug lords couldn't care less. What they feared most was a piece of paper extraditing them to America. That's real hell. So the drug lords fought back against the government in all sorts of ways. It was a full-on war. Big Char went brood, hiring Israeli mercenaries, while Ramon lambasted the government on air. The Ochoa brothers hired a PR firm, while Pablo figured bribing officials would do the trick. He claimed that extradition violated national sovereignty, but the presidential candidate was determined. They sent troops to eliminate Pablo. The news swiftly made its journey to him. He instructed his family to evacuate swiftly and ordered his men to burn every piece of record. Eventually, he whisked away in a helicopter while the DEA just caught a bunch of servants and chefs. Soldiers feasted like kings, while the DEA uncovered some evidence that was half-burnt. By following the clue step by step, they amazingly managed to track down and find Pablo's financial office. They caught his accountant, along with a mountain of transaction records. These pieces of evidence could land him in prison. The DEA discovered a major secret. A CIA pilot even airlifted 500 kilos of drugs to Pablo. That guy partied every day, and guess what? The cops busted him right at the airport.